I always hate it when it does that, and I'm like, oh,
It always does that to me during church. I'm like, I can't stand right now. I can't stand
Yeah. Okay, it is Tuesday, November 10th, 2020, the birthday of the Marine Corps. Call me to order, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Born and unborn.
I was gonna say it feels empty without it. He's on mute.
Oh, he's on mute. Okay, minutes and reports received and filed.
I have the October 2020 sheriff fees filed and the county treasurer's reconciliation report filed.
Okay. Commissioner Committee Liaison Reports, upcoming meetings and events.
I've got a HBA board meeting this afternoon, planning commission meeting tonight, probably be calling in on them if they need me. Tomorrow's Veterans Day, so shout out to all our veterans. Solid Waste Management District Board meeting tomorrow as well, it's Zoom. We got the Renegades Coffee on Friday, it shows here. I haven't heard for sure on it, I won't be there, but it's scheduled. And then, of course, deer season this weekend, so I timed this just right. I told y'all I was gonna do that.
You did.
Only thing that I have is that Bicentennial Dedication at the Katy Trailhead on Monday,
Yep.
and then Heartland Port Authority meeting on Tuesday at 7:30.
We've got community testing today from 9 to 5 at Assembly of God. And they go on DHSS's website and register.
Correct. I think it's full.
It's full? Okay, never mind then. Thursday, I've got chamber transition. Are we having a Thursday?
Press conference at,
Okay. Friday Renegades, Monday I've got a webinar. Then the Tri-County Monument Bicentennial Dedication is 11 a.m. at the Katy Trailhead, and we will, Cole County, Boone County, Callaway County, we're all celebrating our birthday. November 16th, 1820, we became a county, so this is our actual birthday, and we will pass the baton over to Governor Parsons. So it's supposed to be 57 degrees and sunny, so come out. That is all I've got. Appointment by commission, reappointment of James Wunderlich to the Public Works Road and Bridge Advisory Board. And I have the,
Thing to sign.
yeah,
I move that we reappoint James Wunderlich to the Public Works Road and Bridge Advisory Board.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then appointment of Larry Bishop to the Public Works Road and Bridge Advisory Board.
I move that we appoint Larry Bishop to the Public Works Road and Bridge Advisory Board.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I've got those. You want us to just stamp those, Jeff, with your
Yeah, that's
stamp?
fine.
Okay. Commission comments, bids and contracts, approval and signing of renewal 2019-31 unarmed security guard services.
This is the first renewal for 2019-31 with Guardsman Security for the unarmed security guard services. Get out of here. At the courthouse. Whenever they had to submit their RFP last year, we did per year. And so they're honoring their 2-year pricing, and it didn't change from last year. Donnie's good with it, and our recommendation is to stay with Guardsman Security.
Good, I was just trying to pull this up here. Guardsman Security.
Yep.
I move that we approve and sign the renewal 2019-31 unarmed security guard services to Guardsman Security.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Do we have any unfinished business? New business, accounts payable review.
I'd ask for approval of accounts payable pending review.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and do the approval of the CARES Act application request first. We will save Jennifer and we'll save EMS and get.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
All right, so if you all will look at your agenda for today, one of the topics we'd like to talk about is what we're calling the expedited spending options. As you know, we have roughly $5 million left in the CARES Act funding. And based on the responses that we've received over really since July, kind of knowing what the need is in the community, these would be our recommendations to you all, and then we can talk through them, and you can decide if you want to approve those, or if you would prefer, we can talk through the funding recommendations and then come back to this at the end. But essentially, we would recommend that we provide $1 million to the schools based on student enrollment, and this would include the private schools initially. I know that I think the Catholic Diocese has said, you know, that they should not take that funding, and certainly that's up to them. So whether we would, but at least we would make that, you know, as an option, and then they could decide if they wanted to take it or not, and then we need to reallocate those funds. There has been some new guidance on what's called a practical expedient, to where you can provide, I believe, Teresa, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's anything less than $500 is really considered de minimis for them. So we don't have to have as much documentation related to that.
$500 per student.
Thank you, $500 per student, yes. As it relates to the healthcare providers, we would recommend $1 million, which right now there's really 3 major providers that have been in the mix. And Teresa's going to speak to this. One of the groups has found a recommended or a mobile unit that can be received by the end of December. There's also in the guidance, they have said that if you make a good faith effort to purchase something and it's delayed because of COVID, then it can still be applied to the CARES Act. You know, if you wait until December and you try to purchase it, then obviously that's a different story. But in this particular case, this group has found a mobile unit. And then the balance of the funds would be based on the testing percentage that we, or that you all approved a week or so ago. For the cities, $1 million, which again would be based on the census population that we have considered in the past. County public health and public safety payroll, so that would be, again, the guidance has come out that for public health and public safety payroll, meaning this would be police officers, firefighters, EMS, I think even public health administrators that are communicating with the public. Then there is a practical expedient where we can submit that payroll with minimal documentation, meaning that, like, we don't have to provide time sheets and all of the really labor-intensive stuff that goes along with that. It's there is documentation we have to provide, but they're presumed as public health and public safety employees to be working with the public impacted by COVID. So you don't have to prove that this particular person worked this many hours on COVID. If you presume that class of employees worked with the public who was impacted by COVID, then that whole class of employees can be counted. And then the last, and that would leave $1 million, which could still be used for nonprofits, as we've been using our methodology for phase 3 as well as small businesses. So with that, I'm going to just stop and kind of let you all ask questions and any thoughts you might have.
So the public health and public safety, the salaries, there's no maximum, you didn't set like $1 million aside for that, or
No, I mean, in theory, you could, so we've actually had some jurisdictions use, their whole allocation on public health and public safety. Then what they've done is that has freed up the money in their budget for their general fund, and you're able then to spend that extra money on the community, but you don't have the strings attached with the CARES funds.
Okay.
So let's just say, for example, we're not necessarily recommending this, but you could do this where you said, we're gonna spend all of our health and safety salaries in this way, and then we can go and help a group buy this mobile health vehicle, but we don't have to track it per all of the federal guidance, So it just, it frees up a lot of the strings attached with the CARES funds. Same thing would be if you wanted to provide funding to somebody, but they didn't have to prove then at that point that it was COVID. They just had to have the commission approve it. So, but to the, kind of at the very least, we understand that there'll be at least $1 million there.
Okay. Well, we're looking at some things for education, working with the health department, the city, and the hospitals that could cost some money. We're looking at some additions for our ambulances, and so you don't know no more money for the healthcare, the hospitals, or.
Well, again, you would have that $1 million in contingency that you still
Okay.
could spend, really in any way you want it, in terms of the allocation.
And basically, that's taking us down to spending all of the $5 million.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
what our thought was is if we, try over the next couple of weeks to at least allocate out, the $4 million, and then you still have your contingency if anything comes up in the next 2 or 3 weeks, so that really by the first week in December, all we're having to do is either spend money internally, as opposed to trying to go through these application processes and then get it all reported out.
Yeah, I don't want to give any money back to the treasurer so that St. Louis City gets it. I heard that, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. Again, to the extent you may have additional public health and public safety payroll, and I know this is an unknown, but in the event there is additional CARES Act funding, it certainly proves the point that you, as the county, have the need for additional allocations from the federal government if they choose to allocate that. So it just bolsters your case to show the need in the community.
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Do you all want to just kind of think about those, and then I'll turn it over to Teresa and let her walk through the funding recommendations?
Please.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So, kind of a bit of a push at the end of the month there to get some more application in. So we do have a few more applications to go through today. The first one is a fire district, so I put it up in municipalities. I thought it fit best in there. But they were asking for a extractor washer and a hot water heater so they could clean their firefighter gear after going and doing runs and, just being around potential positive cases. So that in that amount of $76.79 is what those were for those two.
That's one of our Cole County fire districts.
That was.
I think it's Russellville.
Russellville, okay.
Good.
Yeah.
I move that we approve A-03864.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, the next one is gonna be, public school. They had a maximum of 125,700 from the initial phase 1 funding, so that's kind of where we maxed them out. They're asking for some Chromebooks, some licenses and protectors, some Wi-Fi hotspots, a body temperature kiosk, some cleaning equipment, and then some cameras for their buses for contract tracing, and then just some miscellaneous PPE, cleaning supplies, and some other things like that. So that maxes them out for that phase 1 allocation that was given to them.
So this money, they had not spent from phase 1, so this is.
Correct, they haven't spent any, this is their first application.
Okay.
So how come in our, in our spreadsheet, we only show $66,674 remaining for all schools?
On the allocation spreadsheet?
Yep. So we had a total of $1 million allocated. Remaining.
So I'm showing that if you, that's 66 is left over, correct. So, we would be taking this out of a contingency or an unallocated for the other, for that. So when you guys initially, had the school district's allocation, I think it was about 1.3 million, I would say 1.5, somewhere in that range. And then during, I think it was phase 3, we kind of, since schools didn't seem like they were, sending in their applications, we kind of reallocated that money around. So,
So there was more, when we said $100 per student, there was more than the initial $1 million.
so this is still at $100 per student
Right.
for, this public school that's asking for this money. But overall, with that total allocation, the $1 million, like I said, I think it was at 1.35 million. So that was reduced when kind of the private schools were saying they didn't want the money, and we just weren't getting the application, so we thought the allocation would be better suited in other places. But the Johnson County Public School, and that's the next one there, with their their virtual education expenditures increasing. That's kind of where we're getting this new allocation for the $1 million, in addition to what they've already gotten. So that's kind of where that's sitting. So does that answer your question?
Not really. So $100 per student equaled $1.35 million, and we only allocated $1 million?
Right, so when we first did the allocation back in phase 1, it was 1.35 million. When we weren't getting the applications, we reduced that in phase 3.
Okay.
And then we started kind of asking schools, hey, if you're still wanting this money, it's still available to you. We can figure out somewhere else in the allocation where we can pull in. And so that's kind of what we were thinking. And then when we got this information from the Johnson County, or the Jefferson City Public School, that the $6 million that they were gonna have in expenses, that's where this new, that Julie was just talking about, where we said, okay, well, maybe they could use $1 million or so more towards the schools. So we were restricting based on that reallocation for those public schools that were still putting in applications possibly.
So did we ever approve an additional $1 million, or you're just
No.
saying that's where we
That's
could
just
use
what-
it?
Right, that's just what,
That's our recommendation now.
yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Because
now.
we have 5 million left. We need to allocate it rather than give it back to the treasurer, who's going to end up giving it to cities that have already spent their care money. And I think our needs are greater than paying rent and utilities for people in St. Louis. That's just my opinion, but.
Right, so essentially what we're doing is just reallocating the 5 million.
But the 125,700, meets the top for that one school that has not had it for the $100 per student, right?
Right, that's
Yeah.
their initial phase 1 allocation.
Yeah, so their request goes back to phase 1, Chris.
Right, I'm good with that one.
Okay.
I mean, but I don't know that have we given all the other schools an opportunity to say, hey, we got extra funds?
So all the public schools have requested money now and received their allocation
Right.
from that phase 1.
But I'm talking about the extra funding that we have. And we have quite a few kids in Cole County that didn't get any funding per student.
Right.
And now we've got another request from Jeff City Public Schools for additional funds, but, are we gonna prorate that for all the kids in the district? And I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, so Julie was talking about that practical expedient, and we could definitely take that approach to where you're providing a set amount that's less than $500 per student, and we can just send that money to them. And it's on them to spend it. We don't have to really do any kind of documentation. And Julie, correct me if I'm wrong. It's just a matter of sending them that money in that way and documenting it. That's why you're sending them the money that way.
Right, and I think when we looked at that $1 million, it worked out to be roughly $70 a student.
Yeah, $67.29 a student. So that came out, I want to say last week, Julie, is that?
Yeah, it is new guidance that's come out.
Is that for
So-
private and public schools, or is that just for public? With documentation? No.
It really does not distinguish between public and private. I think, from my understanding, it's been the guidance that Catholic Diocese has given to their private schools that has impacted their decision on whether or not to take the funds.
Yeah, we just,
But it's not a federal requirement that has impacted.
So it's
the funds.
available to all the private schools. So it's just up to them to apply. I talked to one of the commissioners from Osage County, and they're going through the same thing. I think one of their Catholic schools took it, and the rest of them, under direction from the diocese, have chosen not to. So it's available to them.
we have some
Exactly.
other private schools too, besides the Catholic Diocese.
Yeah,
is
yeah,
what
and
I
there's,
was
the
concerned about.
Lutheran and, so.
And that's why we would just base it on the enrollment as we did before, so that it's, essentially, we're making it available, and then they can choose, if they choose not to apply for it, then, again, if we have funds at the end, we can reallocate again if we need to. But everybody has an opportunity for those funds.
But have we notified them that there's a second round of funding?
No, I mean, obviously, we want to bring this to you all first.
Right.
Yeah, you're recommending it to us to implement it.
Yeah, our recommendation is based on that agenda, those, the $4 million allocation, the $1 million for the schools, $1 million for healthcare providers, $1 million for the cities, and $1 million in the public health and public safety, and then remaining $1 million for contingency.
So those are all additions to the current phase one allocation?
It's basically just reallocating the money, it's not an addition to, it's just taking that remaining 5 million and redistributing it into those categories.
So we would still fund this last school based on that phase one funding, but
Right.
then they would also get the additional allocation, whatever they were for the $1 million.
Jeff, you got any comments, or you sleeping?
I guess I'm kind of confused with this, the B-03865 request for 125.7, which puts us over top of what we actually had in there. So if we took money out of there because they hadn't applied for it, then were they too late for that round and they need to go to phase 3 and pull it out of phase 3, or if you're just gonna pull it out of contingency, and that's the other option, I guess.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, what we said is that we would still leave open, even though we had reallocated each time we did the phase 1, 2, and 3, you know, if people were eligible under a prior phase, they basically were grandfathered in to where they could still apply. So, yes, essentially, we're just taking that additional amount from the contingency to cover that.
That was if we had money left over and they still qualified. So,
Everything was based on availability. Yeah, I mean, in theory, if everything was allocated and they came to us and said, you know, here's our application, then they wouldn't be funded because there would be no money available.
so we got 66,000 according to the spreadsheet left over for the schools. And then, this request was 125.7. So then the 60 and some change would be coming from contingency
Yes,
now,
yes.
or would that come from phase 3 school?
We can do it from phase 3 schools too, if you wanted to do it that way. If you wanted that to be 940 or whatever, 940,000, and we could allocate that based on enrollment.
I'm fine either way. I think initially we didn't close, when phase 1 ended, we went to phase 2, we didn't close the schools. So, I think it's been, that they have been there in phase 2 and phase 3. But, you know, however, if you want to take it from the $1 million, I'm fine.
I only have 40 minutes on this Zoom, so
Yeah.
I got a little notice already.
Okay.
So I'm just telling you.
They removed it, it says.
So what do I have to do? Okay.
Okay, back to the phase 3 funding on the schools, you said 1 million based on student enrollment was $67.29. Does that include all the students, public and private then, again, for the initial?
Yeah, that's all students.
Okay, so then if the private parochial schools decide they do not want to take it, then we would just have some left over for each one of those again?
Correct.
Okay.
So we talked about reimbursing salaries, and obviously we did that for the city of Jefferson, and so I'd like to see us reimburse ourselves for some salaries, and we don't have any of that in phase 3.
well, these recommendations you're making now, I guess could be called phase 4 if you want, but it's just, these weren't initially in phase 3, the million for schools, cities, public health. So, it could be phase 3.1 or something like that. I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
I mean, we could certainly make it, phase 4 is fine. Because we'll be making a notice anyway that, there's additional funding out there, so, I think that's easy enough to do.
I mean, I just think we need to have that conversation before we agree to, this is what phase 3 additional funding is.
that's fine. We've got $5 million we're sitting on, Chris.
Right.
So we need to spend it where it will do the most good, and we really need to do it probably by the end of this month. I know we have some requests from EMS and we have requests from the health department too, but, if, I'm not prepared to turn back $5 million to the treasurer.
I'm not either. I mean, we probably got $4.5 million in salaries that we could reimburse ourselves for currently.
Before we do that, though, I would rather give it to the schools and healthcare and yes,
So, and we're working with Sierra on an upgrade for the EOC. It's a long process because there's a lot to it, and my plan is to have that, Sierra's plan is to have that submitted to y'all probably within this next week, is what we're hoping, so. And there's also one that I have to talk to Kristen about, she's not available, but it's to be able to do virtual EOC. So we'll be submitting that
yeah,
soon. And not only
approximate
for-
cost.
I don't know the answer to that right now, but it's going to be, it will also include all 4 of the fire protection districts, Public Works, and then there's like 5 city entities that would be able to include in here.
Do we want to talk about this and maybe Thursday come back?
It's fine. I mean, I just think that, we need to look a little bit more long-term. I mean, things aren't going to end
No.
at the end of the year, and so we're going to be left to continue on and fight the battle. And so if we can reimburse our funds, at least some,
Yeah, all right, yeah.
helps us move forward into next year. So, because there's a lot of time and salaries that have been expended on stuff that we didn't budget for.
Yeah, the only other thing I was gonna mention is, you do still have that contingency, and so to the extent that anything gets turned back after this phase 4, at that point, you could always do additional salaries, public health and public safety, as a reimbursement.
So probably about the first part of December, we could do that.
So, I mean, I'm good with the 125. If
I'm good.
you
too.
guys, you good with that, Jeff?
Yeah, you're just gonna take it out of contingency then? Or you're gonna do it out of phase 3, I think, the extras?
It doesn't really matter, I don't think. It was what we had told them that they were gonna get, $100 per student. We just didn't allocate enough.
We just took too much out.
Right.
I think we had enough in there, we just took it out when the parochial schools were
Right.
asking for their money.
Yeah, we didn't,
I think, a lot of that money was pushed into testing, into the healthcare providers and, other categories. So, I mean, essentially, what.
How we doing on
you
time?
can look at it either way,
We're on
either take it out of contingency or you can take it out of the other
Extended, right?
phase 3 categories.
All right, we're running out of time here, so we need to move along. So I move that we approve B-03865.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So the next public school, I think we'll probably just skip over then. This is just some
Yeah.
additional that Jefferson City had applied for. I just wanted to, I asked them to do that just so we have something if we do want to continue to fund the schools. So going down to the healthcare provider, the EO7 is an updated, so it is a 37-foot mobile testing unit. Crystal thinks they can have it by the end of December. The major differences from the initial one is that this unit only has 2 exam rooms versus the 4. This one doesn't have to be pulled by a truck. It's got its own motor and everything. It does not have a separate entrance for all exam rooms. There's one entrance and then you kind of go where you need to. The refrigerator in this one is quite a bit smaller. And then this one does not have a freezer, so that's just for storing the vaccine, if they had vaccines, and the smaller refrigerator just for holding those things. So those are the main differences between this and the initial one they were asking for.
And the cost is considerably
Go
less
ahead.
too, I think. Wasn't it? Hmm?
The cost of this one versus the other one,
It was about $200 more, I think.
Oh,
It was very comparable in cost.
a lot less features now.
It is a little bit longer, so a little more space, but definitely different features.
It's like a motorhome.
Yeah, more like a motorhome. And I've got she sent over the schematic of it, if that's something that you guys want to look at.
what do you think, Christie?
Can be used for testing and vaccinations, depending on what kind of vaccine we get.
So when we get the new vaccine for COVID, then you can use that.
Teresa, can it be used for vaccine versus,
I believe so. I'd have to double check with Crystal, but like she was saying, the freezer, I think some of the vaccine types are
Have
in
to be
freezers. I'm
frozen.
not 100%
Yeah, have to
on
be.
that one, so.
Some of them are the ultra cold
Yeah,
vaccine.
That may be a concern for them, but I can definitely ask Crystal to clarify on that.
Some of them are the ultra cold vaccine, but we're hearing that the way they're packed in the dry ice, that they'll actually be able to stay in the boxes they ship them in for like so many hours. So if they got them, they would be able to take them in that vehicle, even if they didn't have the freezer, if they had the proper packaging with the dry ice.
So I'm thinking this would be
I
great.
heard part of that, guys. It was in and out, so we need to get closer to the speaker. I heard something about the vaccine.
I think this could really be good with the vaccines that are gonna be coming. I think now they're saying probably for the public, it's gonna be in the spring. So, but if we have this, it can be used for,
Teresa, can you send all the details of the actual vehicle and stuff to us so I can get it to the commissioners and to Christie at the health department?
Sure thing.
Is time of the essence on that?
She said by the end of December, and that email was from Wednesday of last week, so I'm sure time is of the essence in some regards, so if we come back to this on Thursday.
yeah.
I'm sure we could
Okay.
get all that information to you.
Good.
That you need to make a decision on that.
Okay.
So where's the one that, Christie, I'm trying to find the one you sent us pictures of and stuff too, and the price on it.
That was the one that was considerably less, but,
Is that totally different, or is this similar? Because it was a motorhome as well, and not just a trailer, and I thought it was a lot less.
It was a lot less. I haven't got the chance to look at what Crystal proposed, but I think that one was
128 or
yeah,
something?
128,000 maybe.
mhm.
Just a
I
different.
thought it was a lot less.
It was.
I can't find the email right now. We've only got 6,000 of them for one crap.
And, hold on. It's about 170,000.
Yeah, that's what I was
I can
thinking.
report it real quick.
Well, we can look at both of those and maybe try to figure it Thursday.
One may be new versus used too. Was it new?
That's new, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just said resend.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Teresa, if you'd resend that, that would be great.
Yeah,
Yep, I just forward those on to everybody, so.
Okay.
okay.
So, E1910 and E1977, those are the same ones that we've had on the funding recommendations. E3870, this is St. Mary's. This is their additional cost since their first application, the 1977, that's their initial application. And this is their cost for this pod that they have set up by the testing site and the staffing for that testing site. There is a small correction on 3870D. The eligible cost there is $1,709 instead of the $1,853 because the invoice said that it was for mid-October was when it started, but the rental agreement actually started at the end of October. So just had to take a little bit off there for that. Because it is a 6-month rental agreement, so we adjusted that for only through the end of the year.
And again, these are all expenses they've incurred that they have not been reimbursed for.
Correct. A couple of these are October expenses, so I'm not sure if they've actually paid them out yet. They've invoiced it, and they've, I believe, done the work on a lot of these, but I don't know if they've actually made a payment for these items yet. So I think when you guys are considering where we're gonna allocate that money, these kind of, what we were talking about earlier, you can think about those as well. E3888, this is a place that has already requested and received some money. They were asking for some thermal thermometers to replace some medical grade thermometers that weren't working very well in the cold weather. They didn't have a ton of information on that, so I don't have that as eligible right now. I didn't know if that was something that you want to consider, if they've already received some money, if you want to keep letting them apply and apply and apply. We've kind of let them do that in the past, but as we're kind of winding down, I didn't know how much we wanted to allow that.
Well, you could take that out of that million for healthcare that we've got in phase 4 or phase 3.1 or something like that, right?
If you approve it, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you approve it. So I wasn't gonna bring that one forward just yet. For the nonprofits, the first two are those same ones that I still don't have enough information on. F3871, they're asking for an electrostatic sprayer for the Jefferson City Convention Visitors Bureau for $1428. And then the 38786. This one is for Salvation Armory. They're doing something similar to the Common Grounds where they were going to assist people who have been impacted by COVID. I don't have this one as approval yet because I'm still waiting on a little bit of how they're going to do that. Make sure that these are COVID related, job loss and things like that. So I'm still kind of waiting to get a full grasp of exactly how they're going to get that done. So I don't know if you want to talk about the electrostatic sprayer for the convention center.
Good with that, Sam.
I'm good with that, yes.
I move that we approve F-03871.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Okay, and then on to the small businesses. The first two, again, we're still waiting on some additional information. The last one is a restaurant, and they were just asking for some outdoor seating and ordering kind of items, some modules so that they could take orders outside, and then some money for PPE. So that was a total of $29.91 in what we thought was eligible costs for that.
Good.
Yeah.
Good, Jeff.
Yeah.
I move we approve G-03857.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's all I had for the Julie? I had reporting too. So Kristen and Debbie have sent me some information to get that reporting done for the end of October. We should have that, hoping to have that for you guys to approve on Thursday. But it should be pretty straightforward. A lot of it is the applications that have already been approved, just a few internal things that we'll need to review as well. So hoping to have that to you on Thursday to approve.
Okay.
Julie?
Sure, and then the last thing I was gonna just mention, as we start to get towards the end of the year, I just wanna give everybody an update. So from a budget standpoint, we originally had 1,400 hours in the project, $285,000. To date, we have incurred 1,100 hours at $226,000. So we still have 300 hours remaining over the next few weeks, you know, let's say through the end of January to close out. And then that equates to $58,000 left. So what I'll do is just probably each Tuesday, I'll just send you, and I'll just include this in the agenda. We'll have the numbers here so you can actually just see kind of where we are as we wind down, so there's no surprises.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry?
I think that's it, Julie, in case you have
Thank
anything
you
else.
very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Jeff, if you want to stay on here, I'll keep it open as long as it lets me.
Okay, or we can, I don't know, we'll figure something out.
Okay,
We don't have this set up to do meetings yet?
Jennifer, how much time do you
I
need,
didn't pay
Jennifer?
for an extended one for myself,
Okay.
so.
'Cause I wanna get Matt,
I'm
I
in
wanna
under
get,
me versus
I wanna get,
Kristen.
So I set up a team meeting so that this one cuts out, we can roll right into that.
okay. Okay, Jennifer, 5 minutes.
I do have 2 sub-recipient agreements too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You want those now or you want the budget?
Let's
Let's do the
do,
budget.
okay.
You guys should have copies of the proposed budget in front of you. The auditor's office wants to extend thanks to all the elected officials and department heads and the other employees that helped us get this information together, enabling us to make this book. You may have noticed I am not Kristen. She managed to land herself in the hospital last night, so obviously is unable to be here. I'm just going to hit on a couple points of the book. The first being it does include a 2% cost of living adjustment across the board, with the exception, obviously, of EMS, who is on steps. It does include 6 new positions, and it also includes an $1,800 increase for the deputies in the sheriff's department. Obviously, the book includes a lot more information than that. Read over it, digest it. Kristen will be happy to field any questions that you come up with upon her return.
You said 6 new positions?
Correct.
Where were those new positions at?
There is a maintenance worker, an environmental specialist at health, HR manager, deputy auditor, deputy marshal, and a legal assistant for law.
I don't have any other questions.
Nope.
Okay.
Questions, Jeff?
No, I can't hear real good here.
Okay.
That's part of COVID, hearing, taste, smell. Hey, your book, I'm gonna keep it, it has pictures. You can have my book.
Jennifer is going to send you a digital copy.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Okay, that's,
It's just presentation today, right?
yeah, yes.
That's right. Now the budget meetings will start the first week in December. And then it gives people time to digest this and then come back to you guys.
Okay. Yep. Okay. EMS vent upgrade. Matthew.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning,
Morning.
Virtual Jeff. Oh, how about I do this first? Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
So I forgot, Jeff, I forgot to email this to you. I think I might have previously, but, so our vents currently, when we bought them last year, we bought the basic version of them. So that was with what we could do within our budget. But as we're moving forward through COVID and patients are developing COVID, which then leads into something called ARDS, Adult Respiratory Distress Syndrome. These patients are extremely sick and extremely touchy when they go on ventilators. So we're moving a lot of patients. And when this is happening, our vents cannot match the vent settings of the hospitals. And so this upgrade will get us closer to that. Things that are such as inverse INEs. And so an INE is inspiration, expiration. And basically how that transpires, patients in these things may either need longer respiratory or inspiratory times, longer expiratory times, things like that. All these different medical ways to keep these patients breathing better. We can do this a couple ways as far as this. We're told that this is under the SAVIC. We looked at it. I don't know if I firmly believe that that's under the co-op as it's structured. So I think that based on the way that our transfers have increased in the patients that we're moving, that this could be eligible under an emergency purchase because it's a sole source either way. The only people that can do the upgrade is Zoll. They're the only ones allowed to do that upgrade. So I'd ask that this be an emergency purchase so that we can get this moving and get these vents upgraded so that we can treat these patients better in the short run.
Yeah, we talked about it, and after our call on Monday with the hospitals, and, you know, we are transporting a lot more sick patients to Columbia and to St. Louis, so I said, yes, we need to do it as quickly as possible. What's the time frame for getting them once?
So what we have to do is send like 3 back at a time. So we'll get 3 out. Hopefully it'll be a day or 2 for them to finish that upgrade. They'll send them back, and so we'll start that process and get them upgraded. So my guess is that by mid-December, all of them should be upgraded. And so we've expressed to Zoll our desire to push this as quickly as possible once this is approved to get those upgrades started.
So by December, you could be transporting a lot more too, so.
So we are at a, that was something I was gonna brief you guys on, is kind of where we're at with COVID and the transports and what we're seeing and how it's impacting. I think that's a discussion, or at least information that you guys need to be aware of. So the total cost for this is $55,000 to upgrade to upgrade 11 vents.
You gotta send them to Matt.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, I'm fine with doing this as an emergency purchase.
Good, Jeff?
Yes.
So do we need to declare this as an emergency purchase and just approve today? And then we can submit it for CARES funding?
Correct.
Yeah.
We would then come back to do CARES funding if approved.
So I move that we approve the Zolvent upgrade for $55,000 as an emergency purchase.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
So if I can just kind of give you guys an update on what we're seeing. So over the weekend, we had, our PPE is going to become an issue at some point. So we ran 30 calls in a 48-hour period where our crews had either known COVID patients or patients that were highly suspected of having COVID. That is a marked uptick. A month ago, we were averaging maybe 2 a day. Now we're doing this, over a 2-day period of 30. So we've started the allocation process. We've always kind of had it going they're on back order. Things just are getting worse throughout the country, and so we're trying to push to get as much PPE as we possibly can. The other side of what's happening is our system is becoming stressed. We're seeing more status zeros, right where we were out of ambulances for a short time. We're pulling in other counties to assist in that. It's kind of we're having more sick people call us. We're having people who probably shouldn't call us. And then we're having a lot of transfers, and these transfers aren't local transfers. These are transfers that are taking, if you go to St. Louis, you're on a 5 to 6 hours. That unit is 5 to 6 hours, no longer able to do anything else but that one, right? It's 45 minutes at the hospital to get that patient, ready, or 30 minutes. It's a 2.5 hour trip down to St. Louis and getting them back. I mean, so that's taking time. So we're getting ready to implement probably putting out those quick triage vehicles to try to take some load off of this, and then also be able to meet that advanced life support. So you might see some changes in how we're going to do this. I tell you that because that might change a little bit on our overtime budget, just because we're going to have to staff that with someone. But we wanted to give you a heads up of kind of where we're at and the impact that we're seeing. It's become substantial.
But see, then we can use this extra money for salaries for public health and public safety to cover overtime. You've got to do what you got to do.
Sure. But I just wanted to give you a system update of kind of where we're at with it. All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Virtual Jeff.
Chrissy, you got some informational, we've been having Monday meetings with the city and the hospitals and JCMG and
So this company said this, and I'll bring it up there just so you can see it, but they did this in other counties.
Jeff, can you hear?
Let me come up here. It's like showing.
There.
So this company sent this, he sent me emails and then he sent me a demo, and they have this educational box that they will send to every single household, and they will put whatever information and flyer we have in there. And there's a pack of surgical masks. You can see this? Surgical masks that they put in there because they're finding that the cloth masks are only 10 to 30% effective, and they're not effective for blocking the virus because the virus is too small. And then the hand sanitizer. So they do all the legwork. All we do is send them the informational sheet, which if you guys, like their county executive wrote a letter, and then the health department put information on the back. So whatever we want in there, and then they'll ship them. We talked about like getting them here and handing them out, but Chesney thought, let's not encourage people to get out. Let's get it to their homes. The mayor was a little concerned if people got it in the mail, they might be like, oh, it's somewhere in the box, I'll throw it away. But I think if we tell people it's coming, it'll be okay and they won't throw it away. And most people will open, a box, and it's all made in the USA. They make them right there in St. Louis. So each household would get a box that looked like that.
so do we have to mail them from here?
No, they do
Or
everything.
They would do that?
They do
No,
everything.
I'm fine with that, because
We
I was looking
no,
at shipping.
They even print. We get, it's $318,000. All we do is email them the educational document we want included. They do everything. So if you want to look at
To 33,000
households
So that goes to every household.
in Cole County.
In Cole County.
And
Is
I
that-
can fill out a CARES request form if you want. I just hadn't got a chance to do it before today.
Is that something that we could include, this new document we're working on, into it?
I think they're
Right.
saying 2 to 2.5 weeks.
Right. Well,
So-
they'll start making the masks and everything because they produce them right there, and then we send them. Yeah, we send them what we want included. They print that. They put it all in the box. They mail it out. We don't have to do a thing. It was $318,000, and that's everything.
Yeah.
If we want to include 2 bottles of hand sanitizer, of course,
You
they will
can
do
buy,
that
Extra.
for.
you can buy hand sanitizer.
Right. That's what I was like. I don't
So
think.
is that 80% alcohol? No, there's a difference.
I know there is a difference. This is 70%.
Okay, but I like the surgical, because these are 10 to 30% effective. Surgical is 70% effective.
These are medical grade.
Medical are
surgical
70% effective.
Right.
And then the N95s are what, 90, 95%. So these are much more effective than the,
You can keep that if you want, or I can subtract. So I can fill out a change request if you want to, or, but I think the quicker we tell them that we would like to do it, they'll start making the masks and get it. Yeah, here's what the
I
box
think it's,
would look like, Jeff.
I think it's great. I really do.
33.
I think the medical grade mask, I haven't seen those.
No, every household in the county.
Is it a box of, or a package of 50? Is that what it said?
Oh,
Yeah, 50.
Oh, 50, oh, good.
You get 50 masks. That way, it's for the whole household.
Okay.
I'm really disappointed Jeff's not in his deer stand.
That's what I'm
talking to us.
thinking. I know. First, the mayor suggested we hand them out just because she didn't know if you would open a box, but then the more we got
There
to
you
thinking
go.
about that, it's like, that's.
Wrong background.
And then how do we know that people only got one?
Well,
You
that's-
know,
The
it just,
solution is gonna be a.
I know. So
Yeah,
if we
well,
have them
that's what I
ship them
was-
directly to the
yeah.
houses,
I think that's great. I like that. The News Tribune can let everybody know.
well, say if we tell them they're coming, then they'll know to
Yeah.
look for the box. They won't throw them away.
Yeah, so we do a press campaign to let people know.
Yeah.
This is getting in there tomorrow for sure.
Yeah,
Well,
that's-
it'll take a few weeks.
I know.
Yeah, but this is, I
Very
think,
nice.
I mean, since we have the care money, and I think this is very, very,
So then, if we did that document,
Mm-hmm.
that was about, we talked at $2,000 for 20,000, so we'd have to buy another 33,000.
We send it to them and they print it and put it in.
Oh, wow.
They
Yeah.
do all,
yeah.
the way I understand it
Where
is
do we
we,
distribution issue?
yeah.
Yeah, no, I think this is just neater.
Yeah, it says, yeah, and they'll do a trifold, they'll do whatever, it's included in the price, that's extra, you know, they do all the printing, everything. We send it to them, they print it, they stuff them, they mail them, everything. We don't do a thing.
How much were those each?
Well, it's 33,000 households, so I think it came up to like $9.65 a household.
A box?
Yeah,
But that's mailing.
Mailing.
That's mailing, the printing,
hand sanitizer, everything.
and I mean, this will go to St. Thomas, this
I
will
don't care
go
about that, I'm
to
calling
Taos.
it jail.
Yeah.
No, I think this is,
Well, this supply company also has like gloves and masks and other things too, so I can give you, I can send you his name if you want to
They got
contact him.
metal in?
What?
They got metal in?
They
Probably.
Probably in the
Yeah,
nose
never
thing.
no, I think this is, I was really, really amazed when you
I
brought
didn't,
this
yeah,
up.
I didn't know about it until I received it, then
Yeah, I
I'm like, oh,
think
that's
that's-
really neat, that's a really neat
I
idea.
think that's a neat,
And it's all made in the US.
yes, I like that too.
Yeah. You send these too, if you wanna look at those, and wipes, so that, cause they do wipes too. But their boxes are just hand sanitizer and masks.
Any thoughts, Jeff?
No, I like,
Good?
no, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so do you mean, can I go ahead and tell them to get started, and then I'll fill out the internal
Do we
application?
need a motion on that, or? I doubt it.
I think this is a sole, it's a
This will be a
hard to
sole
say
source.
for emergency.
I don't think there'd be anybody who could do this and have it out in two to two and a
Well,
half
if you do
weeks.
emergency, then you don't have to put it in
Right.
paper, full course.
You got that, you got that invoice?
Yeah, let's do an emergency. Yeah.
All right, I move that we approve an emergency purchase with MoMed Supplies out of Maryland Heights for $318,255.19 for surgical masks and hand sanitizers sent to every home in Cole County.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Let me know if you guys want to write a letter, or if you just want us to send the document that we've been working on. So, we can talk about it.
We
You
can
can
put our
have it.
pictures in it, so.
Yes,
Maybe if we come out with an advisory, you know,
Well, that's what,
a
yeah.
joint advisory message or something, we could,
detailing those steps.
include that or something,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Chris, hospital.
How soon is that?
Christie.
I'm sorry, they're saying 2 to 2.5 weeks is the time they gave us to do that, so I would assume they'd be out by the 1st of December at the latest. It's going through the postal service, so, you know, it's kind of like the ballots.
Careful.
Oh.
Easy there, Tiger.
Yeah, careful.
But I think that's what I think is really neat, that this will go to every household in Cole County. So you'll even get one.
Even the governors. He asked me if they would go to the governor's house. I'm like, well, they're in Cole County.
Yeah, I think this is, I think it's awesome. Okay. Anything else?
I do have two
Oh, yes.
subrecipient agreements that I
Yes.
need you guys to sign. They've already obviously been approved. Through funding, you know.
I move that we sign the subrecipient agreement with SSM Regional Health Services.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. And I move that we sign the subrecipient agreement with the Jefferson City Area YMCA.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Recess.
Yep. Move we stand in recess till 4:30.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.